Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. It is another fantastic Pharmacist Friday here on Daily with Doc, as we are going to be taking questions and getting answers. So make sure that if you are here live with us, or even on some of the platforms that allow you to comment, if you have questions, ask your questions. If you're here live with us or want to be, make sure that you go to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. And we are going on Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time. 12 to 1 Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, and 3 to 4 Okay, so I don't know where I got muted, but hey, we're just going to roll with it, as today is Pharmacist Fridays. This program is being sponsored by Daily with Doc. And if you were invited by somebody specific, you want to make sure that you get back with them. They cared enough about you to share this show that is offering options to put into your toolbox so that you can make wiser decisions on helping yourself and creating a better health journey. So this program is not meant to take the place of a primary care physician, but folks, you are intelligent individuals, and we want to make sure that you have all the pieces to answer those difficult questions. And we are excited to have with us today the amazing pharmacist Ben Fuchs, who, you get a pharmacist who's also done broadcasting and journalism, and you have a great show. There's no other way to do it. The best part about it is our pharmacist, Ben, he emphasizes the connection between overall health and the holistic perspectives when it comes to nutrition and lifestyles. So help me welcome to the screen pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Hello, pharmacist Ben.
Hello. Hello. All right, so I want to get right to questions, but before we start, there's just a couple things I want to talk about. First of all, in terms of selling longevity products, which is what we are all here to talk about doing, I think the most important thing for people to understand is our customers, whether they're actual customers or potential customers, are scared. Just like everybody's scared. Everybody on this call is scared. I'm scared. We go through our lives with this kind of underlying uncertainty. We don't know what rock's gonna hit us on the head, or what car is gonna come screaming out across the street and hit us out of the middle of nowhere, or what bill's gonna come, or what's gonna happen to our kids or our mothers or fathers or children or whatever. We don't know. That's the nature of life. Famous philosopher Soren Kierkegaard said, excuse me, life is lived forward, but it's understood backwards. We don't understand. We don't know. It's a mystery. And so first of all, you want to have compassion for people, especially have compassion for ourselves. In fact, in a way, we want to kind of treat ourselves like babies. We want to nurture ourselves like a mother would nurture our babies. We want to see ourselves as separate from ourselves, see our Benness or Rebecca-ness as separate from the part inside us that's doing all the thinking and the navigating, and give ourselves some love and some compassion, because it's freaking terrifying out there. Not to mention, if you're sick and you have an illness and you're being told there's no known cause and there's no cure and there's nothing you could do and you're going to be on this drug the rest of your life. So the best thing we can do for people is to help them feel safe. Like we got it for them. Like we understand. First of all, by developing rapport, like we know what you're going through. We've seen this before, but also by giving them a sense of safety. Like we're going to help you. In order for us to be able to say that we're going to help you, we have to feel really confident in what we're giving people. And the fastest way to feel confident about what you're giving people is to, number one, help them understand the digestive system, because this is where you get the quickest results. That's why I'm always harping on the digestive system. This is where you get the quickest results. And number two, simplifying their protocol. You don't want to put people on 10 different supplements. I know everybody's trying to make it, get business here, but really your business comes from repeat business, not from a one-hit shot with $1,000 deal, and they don't know what they're doing with the product. They don't have a strategy. Nothing's coherent, and they just out $1,000. They don't know what the heck they're doing, which is why I always start people off with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. You get the most bang for your buck. Everybody notices results from Beyond Tangy Tangerine when it's done correctly. Everybody. It's not possible not to, especially if you're not supplementing, or if you're sick, or if you have a health challenge and you haven't addressed it yet nutritionally. Everybody will get benefits from BTT. So as distributors and as health coaches and healthcare professionals, or not professionals, healthcare advisors, we want to help our clients understand that we've heard this before, we've got it. The fastest way to do that is to get quick results, and that's why the digestive system is so important. It also shows them that you know what you're talking about, because when you say to them when they have rheumatoid arthritis or scleroderma or acne or whatever it is, and you start talking to them about their digestive system, most people will recognize that you're right, what you're talking about. Now, some people say, no, I got nothing at all going on, either because they don't know or because they don't want to tell you. But most people, if you tell them about the relationship with the digestive system to their blood pressure or their skin or their autoimmune disease or whatever it is, number one, very likely they haven't heard of that relationship. And number two, once they employ these strategies, which you're going to tell them about a food diet, all the things we talk about, a food diary and eliminating problem foods and staying off of gluten and the bad foods and the digestive support supplements, they're going to get benefits. And this is going to demonstrate to them that you know what you're talking about, and this is going to make them feel confident in what you're doing. And that's what we're trying to get them. That's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve a level of trust. And that requires that having them feel confident that you know what you're doing. If you put them on 10 different supplements and there's no rhyme or reason for them, that's not going to engender trust. In fact, they're probably not going to get a second order. And that's what you're looking for. It's not the first order. The first order is not the important order. It's the second and the third order that are the important orders. And that's what you're looking to get when you're doing the business, is you're looking to get a second and third order and developing a relationship with your clients, not only as a provider of nutritional supplements, but also as a resource. This isn't complicated. As you know, we've been doing these programs. I've been doing these programs with Rebecca now for a year, maybe more. And we say the same thing over and over again. We repeat ourselves over and over again because it's not that complicated. It's digestive and it's blood sugar. And then if you want to go all out, you can work on calming the body down at the adrenal thyroid complex. But as you know, we've truncated the triangle of disease to just the 2 points. And that's it. The metabolic system, as Becca and Doc Wallach know from as authors of the book Metabolic Syndrome, and the digestive system. And then the second thing I want to say was I read 3 articles today off of Medscape for Pharmacists, which is a website specifically for pharmacy, and they talk about drugs. They're usually raving about drugs, but there were 3 articles today that were really interesting. One, antidepressants linked to sudden cardiac death risks. Antipsychotics for dementia pose wide-ranging health risks. And the third, long-term antidepressant use tied to increase in cardiovascular disease and mortality. So what you're seeing here is even the medical model. Medscape is written by doctors, for doctors and pharmacists and healthcare professionals. It's not like alternative medicine or anything like that. Even the medical model is recognizing that when you take prescription medication, you are running risks for disease. This is, for us here, that's, duh, but for the mainstream of people that we're dealing with, they don't know this because they see the commercials and they see the people on their biologics or antidepressants or blood thinners, whatever, bungee jumping and climbing mountains and wading through rivers and sailing and doing all these exciting things. They got beautiful families and they're all happy. And that's the message that we get. And the doctor says, you're on this. This is perfect. You can do this. There's no problems with this. And this is what they're being told. So we have to be able to explain to people that while a prescription drug may be necessary in the short term, in the long term, it is going to decrease your body's ability to deal with life, whether it causes early death or whether it causes side effects or adverse reactions. That's not the point. It's going to cause you to become less functional in life. No matter what that drug is, you may need it in the short term. But if you're on a drug chronically, your number one health challenge is to figure out how to get off that drug. And secondly, if you're on a prescription drug, it becomes extra important that you're using nutritional supplements. Nutritional supplementation can mitigate the toxicity that's associated with drugs. When you take a prescription drug, it costs your body nutrients, copper and zinc and magnesium and vitamin C. All these nutrients, the mighty 9 essential nutrients, are mobilized to the liver to detoxify the liver, to protect the liver from the drugs. So the more drugs you're on, the more nutrients you need. And so if we run into clients who are on prescription drugs, that's a message that we want to tell them. And sometimes we run into clients that are on multiple prescription drugs, 5 or more, 6, 7, 8. And that means their nutrient loss is exponentially higher. So the more toxicity you're putting into your body, the more you need nutrients. Prescription drugs for sure, but even just sugar or alcohol or cigarette smoke, or if you're working in a toxic area, or if you're worried about glyphosate, you're eating a lot of veggies, all of these increase your need for supplementation, and they represent a target for us for the message, number one, and for products, number two. Let people know if they're on prescription drugs, it becomes extra important that they use supplements. And if you ever get the question, oh, will these nutrients interfere with my drugs? Which every time I hear it, I can't get over the irony of that. The answer is the nutrients will make your drugs work better so that you can take lower doses. And that should always be the goal. Everybody should understand, everybody gets to make their own decisions, but they should know, and we should tell them that maybe you need the prescription drug, maybe you don't. I don't know. But what I do know is there is a toxic load, a severe toxic load on your body for every prescription drug you take, depending on what that drug is and how much of it that you take. So there's no getting around the fact that you are going to, in the long run, when you're on a prescription drug, have suppressed function. There's no getting around that. It has to happen. There's no getting around that when you're on a chronic drug for a long period of time, you're going to have nutrient deficiencies. For both those reasons, people on a lot of medication need extra supplementation or need supplementation extra urgently. So for point number one, when we talk to clients, understand that they're scared. We're all scared. We all go through life scared. But when you have a disease, you have a health challenge that's severe, or your loved one has a health challenge that's severe, it's super scary, as everybody who's dealt with that on this call can understand. We're here to help calm them down, to give them confidence, to give them trust. So you lead with compassion, and then let them know what you're doing by helping them with their digestive system first, and metabolic system second, and letting them know about the relationship. Every chronic disease has a digestive link and a metabolic link. That is a blood sugar link. When we talk about metabolic syndrome, we talk about what we really mean is dysglycemia, disturbances in blood sugar, hyperinsulinemia, too much insulin. And the reason it's called metabolic syndrome is because it affects everything. every single system in the body. That's why they call it. Metabolic means everything. They might as well call it everything syndrome, because everything is involved when you have metabolic syndrome. So work on those 2 points in the interest of simplification, because this is very confusing. It's confusing for us, especially with all these products that we have. Imagine how confusing it is for our clients. So in the interest of simplification, you work on those two points on the triangle of disease, and in the interest of getting them quick results and making a quick difference. People want a quick difference. If you do it correctly, they'll notice a difference in 2 or 3 days, sometimes less, particularly with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. So simplify in terms of what the kind of products you're dispensing, even if it's just Beyond Tangy Tangerine to start. Because your goal is the second order and the third order and developing a relationship, not to get a big hit first order. And secondly, reduce everything to the first 2 points on the triangle of disease. Okay, now let's rock and roll if there's people out there who have questions.
Yes, there are people that have questions, and I am so glad that you brought that up, because people are wanting to make this more difficult, more complicated than it has to be.
Yes, I agree. And that is a big
And
problem, because it's already complicated. Our job should not be to increase complexity. Our job should be to reduce complexity and make it easy to understand. Like when you're making a sauce, as we talked about, you reduce, you get it down to its essence. BTT is the essence. You can build a whole company on BTT. That's as a pharmacist, nothing's more important to me than my credibility. So when I talk about BTT, I'm talking about it because I know it's going to work. I've seen it with my own eyes hundreds of times over the last 30 years, almost 30 years, 27 years. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it with people who are sick. I've seen it with people who are not sick. I've seen it with my friends who are young. They use it all the time. I see it with my employees at work. They use it all the time. They're not sick. They just use it all the time for the kind of energy they get. And I've seen it with people in nursing homes, with my dad and other people in nursing homes, as I've told the story. I see it with my mom. She's 91 years old. When she does her Beyond Tangy Tangerine, she's a new woman, and she loves it. And of course, you all have seen the same things. So when I talk about Beyond Tangy Tangerine, it's from the standpoint of I couldn't live with myself if I did not stand up on every roof and platform that I could find and scream to the public, to people, you need to try this Beyond Tangy Tangerine. There's no formulation on the planet like it. That's why there's no imitations. That's why there's no generic Beyond Tangy Tangerine. That's why you can't buy duplicates or dupes, as they call them today. It's a singular unicorn product. And as a formulator myself, I can tell you it is exquisitely formulated, well-rounded. And by the way, when we talk about Beyond Tangy Tangerine, we often talk about the minerals, but there's so many other things in there. And in terms of the minerals, when we talk about the minerals come from humic shale, and then humic shale is loaded with other active ingredients from plants that aren't even listed. It is a powerhouse nutritional supplement. For the money, it's incredibly valuable or inexpensive for what you're getting. And people will get very quick results. Now, you do want to use it carefully because you got to know how to use it. One of the big problems we have, and you guys probably all know this, is that people take too much, boom, it passes through the intestine. It pulls water through it because it's very water soluble. It attracts water, and you end up with cramping and bloating and explosive diarrhea. This is the biggest complaint people have. That's why you want small doses, especially to start. Much better to do it in a water bottle and sip on it all day long. And also, by the way, Beyond Tangy Tangerine is excellent with meals. That will slow down the release of the nutrients, so you get more gradual release, and it will help you digest your food. It's acidic, and it's got nutrients in there, so we should be telling people to use it with their digestive enzymes and with meals, as well as during the day. I'm sorry, you're going to say something, Rebecca?
well, I was just going to say, I always recommend starting at breakfast and continuing sipping on it through early afternoon. Not too late, because some people may be affected by the vitamins and the energy that it gives them.
Well, I'm not sure I go with that necessarily, but the vitamins will help you sleep. They'll relax you. You don't get too much. That's a good. Let me address that, Rebecca. And because I hear that sometimes, they'll get too much energy from it. That's not how the body works. The body, you don't just get energy like speed. If you take a drug, you get energy no matter what. But with nutrients, the body knows what to do. So it will actually relax you because it will help your biochemistry work with greater facility. And that means you don't have to pump out stress hormone. So everything works smoother and more efficiently when you have supplements. So I have heard people say, B vitamins and energizing nutrients, that's not how they work. B vitamins and nutrients will calm you when you're high, or they'll relax you, or they'll stimulate you when you're low. When you're at low energy, they'll stimulate you. When you're high energy, they'll relax you. So you don't have to necessarily worry about that because they're not medications. But I have heard other people say that. Your body knows what to do with nutrients. And this idea that nutrients are like drugs and you got to be careful here and there, it's a medical idea. It's also used to marginalize or dismiss the value of nutrition. Sometimes you'll hear, oh, I did that vitamin E, or I did that Beyond Tangy Tangerine, or I did that supplement, and it didn't work. Okay? Anytime you hear it didn't work, what you're hearing is somebody who's applying a medical or drug criteria to nutrients. Nutrients don't work, your body works. What the nutrients do is they facilitate your body. They facilitate cellular chemistry. Drugs, they work or don't work because they're overriding everything. They're like Darth Vader. They're just invading and blowing things up. Nutrients are like your grandmother's apple pie. They're just like sustaining and nourishing, and they're letting the body do the work. That's really the model here. We're respecting the body. We're respecting cellular chemistry. We're respecting evolution. We're respecting all of the things that the cell already knows what to do. Drugs don't do that. It's like, I've said it a bunch of times. I like the story, so I'll say it again, but you've heard it. You don't hit the rock. You ask the rock. Drugs hit the rock. They tell the rock, I'm smarter than you. You're a dumb body. You're dumb cells. You're stupid and I'm smart. That's the message. I know what to do better than you, you stupid body. You're high blood pressure. I'll show you. We're going to jack those blood vessels open. No more high blood pressure. How do you like that, you dumb body? That's the message. Nutrients are like, here's some food. Let's see what you could do. Gently open up the blood vessels. Gently sustain cellular chemistry. It's a completely different perspective. And to come full circle, we talked about compassion. Have compassion for the body. Let's give the body some love. Nutrients or drugs don't give the body love. Drugs order the body. They beat the body down. And this is our model. Francis Bacon, who's said to be the father of science, lived in the Renaissance age, 1500s, I believe, 1400s, 1500s. He's one of the first scientists. This is when the scientific method began. He said a famous quote. He said, "We are going to put nature on the rack and tear her secrets from her, limb from limb." That's the beginnings of science, which, by the way, means to cut. Like scissors, means to cut. And so our scientific method is about ordering, cutting, breaking things up, as opposed to the nutrition model, which is about love and compassion and caring and feeding and sustaining. And that's our perspective. The body doesn't need to be cut up and carved up and punished and drugged and excised and all the things that the medical model does to it. The body needs some love, especially when it's sick, especially when it's under duress. Okay, so that being said.
We have people wanting to know, what is your favorite version of the BTT?
I like the 2.5. Everybody's got their own preference, but I like the 2.5. I like it better than anything. Best formulation. Everybody's got their own personal preference. I know there's the Rise and Restore. I like the BTT. I'm old school. Okay. I'm an old guy.
Well, I like the 2.0 and the 2.5, especially. Yeah. So 2.5, you add some soul in there. It's really good. Which is another one of the products that Longevity carries that helps to boost the mood. So we do have somebody wanting to know, why is L-glutamine not in the Tangy Tangerine? Do you know?
Yeah, I can't really speak to the formulations. I don't formulate the products. I'm just a little pharmacist guy who takes the products and recommends them. But I can tell you, L-glutamine is one of the most fabulous amino acids that you can ever use. Therapeutic amino acids. Amino acids, as everybody probably knows, are the building blocks of protein. But the amino acids individually have some very interesting therapeutic properties on their own. Tyrosine, for example, acts like speed, caffeine, by helping your body make uppers, adrenaline. It's a precursor. You can use tyrosine if you're trying to wean yourself off coffee. 500 milligrams in the morning, 500 milligrams in the middle of the day. Gives you energy. Tryptophan helps you sleep, helps relax your body. Arginine, very important for the heart, growth hormone. Vasodilation. Taurine, one of the best nutrients to take for your skin, for your eyes. A study came out about a year ago that talked about taurine as one of the most important anti-aging supplements. Mice that were given high doses of taurine extended their lifespan. Glutamine is arguable, it's probably the most abundant one of the most abundant amino acids in the body, and it is stupendously valuable for a lot of reasons. Number one, for the digestive system, for the intestine. For people who are dealing with leaky gut, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, very important intestinal amino acid. Intestinal cells prefer glutamine. Glutamine is also important for bodybuilders and muscle people, weightlifting, athletes, muscle bodybuilders, people building muscle. It's a building supplement. It's very important for building. It's a critical component of something called glutathione, which is your body's master detoxifier antioxidant. And building glutathione is a very important strategy for people who are toxic or people who are sick or people who are aging. In fact, injecting glutathione directly into your blood can be helpful for people who are dealing with severe diseases. Parkinson's disease, cancer. This not cancer. I'm going to talk about cancer in a second, but Parkinson's disease specifically, and movement disorders. And then glutamine also can be very helpful for helping you wean off of sugar. Cells can use glutamine. Now there are some people who tell you that you don't want to use glutamine in high doses, and you especially don't want to use glutamine if you have cancer because cells use it to grow. And so the thinking is if you give the body glutamine or you give cancer cells glutamine, they'll grow really fast. I don't buy that. It's a critically important amino acid, and to deprive your body of glutamine because you don't want cancer cells to get glutamine doesn't make sense. What you want to do if you have cancer is you want to stabilize the body because cancer only occurs in a toxic body. Just real quick, and I don't want to digress too much, cancer is a sign of duress. I know we've talked about it before. There's no such thing really as cancer the way we think of it. There's no such thing as breast cancer. There's no such thing as prostate cancer. There's no such thing as skin cancer. There's prostate cell cancer, breast cell cancer, skin cell cancer. It's a cellular phenomenon. We treat the organs. We don't treat the cells. What we do is we kill the cells. That's our logic. What we really need to be doing is figuring out why the cells are under such duress that now they've become cancerous. A cancer cell is like a cell that's in safe mode. You know, your computer, when your computer's under duress, something's wrong with your computer, it has a virus or whatever, it goes into safe mode. When your computer, you know what I'm talking about? When your computer's in safe mode, have you ever seen it? You can do a couple things, but you can't do a lot because you can't put a lot. The computer is maxed out. It's got some kind of stressor in it, and you don't want to overload the system, so it shuts down and only lets you do a couple things. That's what a cancer cell does. A cancer cell is a cell that, like all cells, was initially very complex, very intelligent, very capable. Cells can do billions of things a second. Sit with that for a minute. How does something do a billion things a second on its own with no intelligence guiding it? It's unbelievable how these things work. But when a cell is under duress, either from starvation, suffocation, or toxification, long enough, first of all, it'll die if it's under too much duress, but every once in a while, instead of dying, it goes into safe mode. Safe mode for a cell, like safe mode in a computer, means it can't do a lot of things. It can't do all of its functionality. It can't make the proteins and the enzymes, and it can't activate the genetics and all the things cells do. So it goes into safe mode where it just eats and reproduces, eats and divides. That's what a cancer cell does. It eats and divides, and it eats our food or the food for the other cells. And this is how you die from cancer, because the cancer cells get all the nutrients, and then it divides. It's on safe mode. So there's not going to ever be a vaccine for cancer. That's silly. There's no war on cancer. That's not going to happen. If you want a war on cancer, close down McDonald's and all of the places where we introduce stressors into the body. I pick on McDonald's because they're easy to pick on, but there's a lot of places that are just as bad or even worse than McDonald's. So as long as the cells are under duress from starvation, lack of nutrients, toxification, toxicity, including sugar, by the way, is a major toxin for cells. After, you need a little bit, but after that, it's a toxin. And then suffocation, lack of oxygen. Lack of oxygen comes from respiration or also inflammation. And this is the last thing I said. I know I've said that before already, but let me just say this one more time. We talked about how everybody's scared. What is the one word that comes to mind when you think of chronic degenerative disease, that all chronic degenerative disease has linked to it? All of it. Starts with an I. We always talk about it.
Inflammation.
Right. What is inflammation? It's a protective response. Inflammation occurs when there's a perceived enemy, a perceived threat. If you break a leg, that's perceived as a threat. You got a broken leg, so inflammation comes to the rescue to kind of cushion and protect that area so it doesn't get further damaged. But microinflammation occurs at the level of the cell when there's toxicity, when there's suffocation, or when there is a lack of nutrition. So talking about compassion and talking about defense and talking about fear and talking about going through the body or going through life in this kind of scared mode, that's how the body is when it's sick. I had a severe leg accident a few years ago, really severe. And I remember when I was sitting there healing, I was supposed to walk normally after this accident. And I remember sitting there and I could actually feel the sadness in my leg. I could feel my leg sadness like a baby was sad. And I just shot that leg with love and compassion and kindness and just everything I could muster in terms of soothing mentally and emotionally my leg. And sure enough, it healed dramatically. Nobody could believe how fast it healed. Now, I was also supplementing, doing a lot of other things, but I remember looking at my leg and feeling how sad it was. And that was obvious. I could see my broken leg. I could see the disaster that was my leg. But when you're sick inside, when you have a health challenge inside, that's the same thing that's happened to your liver and your heart and your spleen and your lungs and your brain and any other part of the body that's breaking down, that's sick. It's sad. It wants some love. It wants some compassion. How many of us have ever given our intestines some love and compassion, mentally and emotionally, sending it energy, sending it love and kindness? Thank you. Or your heart, which beats 1 billion times in a lifetime, or your brain, or your eyes, or your nose, all the things that are going right. We always focus on the things that are going wrong. Look at all the things that are going right. Look at just that we can think, or we can walk, or we can wiggle our fingers or our toes, or that we can function in any way. Even if you're dying on your deathbed, dying of some horrible disease, there's still more things going right than wrong, let alone if we're functional here and we have high blood pressure, or we have acne, or we have metabolic issues, whatever it is. There's so many things going right, so many more things going right in the body than going wrong. Let's give the body some love. The body wants to be loved like any other living system. The body, the organs, the cells, they want some love. Let's love the body. That's really what we're about here. When you boil it down with nutritional supplementation, it's really about loving the body and feeding and nurturing and being kind to this beautiful God-given gift that we've been bequeathed without asking for it, of a human form or a biological system, the human body. Okay, that's that. I'm done.
All right. So Carrie, who is a naturopathic doctor, says he is speaking an important truth.
Carrie.
I have to agree. Yes. So we have Carrie B on with us, amazing naturopath who's here. And I just wanted to make a note for those of you that are looking for L-glutamine. Look to Longevity and the HGH Youth Complex, or it's HGH amino acid blend, depending on which version you're looking at. And also Repair, which is exactly like Ben was saying, it's good for the digestive system. Repair has L-glutamine in there as well.
Yes, that's right. I just saw that the other day. That's a new product, I think, Repair. I hadn't noticed that before.
It's new within the last couple of years. I absolutely love it.
Okay, we got to start talking about that more. I did see that just this before I went on Coast to Coast. I saw that for the first time. There's so many products. I can't keep up with all the products.
Oh, I know. I try. I'm a product junkie, so I try to keep up on, what's out there.
All right.
But let's go to hands and questions.
Yes.
EJ.
Carrie is on the Zoom call or on YouTube? Have I met
Carrie is on the Zoom. Yes.
I don't think I've met Carrie.
Carrie, are you here?
Is Carrie on Zoom?
I saw her a bit ago.
Hi,
Yes,
Carrie.
she's here. Hi, Carrie.
Yeah. Hi, Carrie. Where's Carrie?
I'm here.
But you're not going to be able to see her.
Okay.
In order to protect our audience from being educated on parts of the body without clothing, we've decided that we have to eliminate the ability
All right.
for, our non-co-hosts ability to turn their cameras on.
All
But we
right.
know Carrie would be safe. And, coming from the part, a field of law enforcement, we don't go for harassment here.
Where does Carrie practice? Where's Carrie's practice?
She's in California.
Okay, good. I hope to meet you someday, Carrie. Even on
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Yep, she's amazing. We'll have to do an introduction. Carrie,
By the
you have
way,
this.
love naturopaths. I always send people to naturopaths. Always. That's where you want to go, is to a naturopath. Medical doctors are trained in drugs, and sometimes you need them, but naturopaths are trained in causes and how the body works holistically as a system, how it's all put together.
Yep.
God bless
Yep.
the naturopaths.
Awesome.
All right.
Did you want to add anything to that, Dr. Carrie?
Oh, I didn't realize my mic was on. Yes, and it's body, mind, and spirit. It's not
Absolutely.
just the body as a whole, it's body,
100%.
mind, and spirit. So what
I call it SMEP, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, the 4 dimensions of healing.
it's
You're
awesome.
100% correct. Absolutely. In fact, if you have a patient, sometimes we'll have patients who get the supplements and they get better and then they plateau. And they say, what do you do? Whenever somebody plateaus, you can rest assured there's spiritual, mental, and emotional components behind their health challenges. And the mind-body connection, which we're now starting to understand conventionally, because it's been understood for a long time, is critical. That's a little bit past our scope as health, as nutrition, and being in the nutrition business. But as Carrie said, absolutely 100%, the mind-body link is critical to focus on, particularly with people who plateau.
Yeah, and that's in our naturopathic wheelhouse. And I'm reading a book about the liver, and
What is it?
it's the Liver Rescue.
Okay.
Liver Rescue, talking about the emotions that are associated with the liver.
Absolutely.
And it's just an extension of what you learn in naturopathic school, but it's deep. It's
The
deep.
liver is deep. The liver is incredible. The ancient Greeks thought the liver was the brain. The liver is like the warehouse for the body. The brain sends messages to the liver to release things and store things, but when you need stuff, it comes out of the liver. So it's like the warehouse for amino acids, for vitamins, for fats. And there's no accident that our abuse of the body particularly affects the liver. And that's why, most Americans, most adult Americans suffer from some degree of fatty liver disease. They call it NASH now. That's the new name.
Oh.
You see commercials for NASH, which is
I haven't seen that name.
It's just basically fatty liver, but they like acronyms. They like to make you freak out. They never tell you what it is. Say NASH. Do you have NASH?
Oh.
Non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Fatty liver. All right, go ahead. Let's take some questions.
All right.
Over now.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
All right.
Signing off.
AJ, what question do you have for our pharmacist Ben today?
Pharmacist Ben, you're fantastic as always. Loved you on Coast to Coast the other night.
Thank you. Thanks for the props. I appreciate the text. I don't know if I responded. I appreciate it.
Yes, you did. You are the man. And so I have a question of a client who started taking a protocol recently with the BTT Start Pack. He's always had some digestive issues. He's recognized that. So I got him on the Ultimate Microbiome. We're trying to work our way through that. But since he started the program, prior to the program, said he was very, very irregular, couldn't go to the bathroom. Now
Too much.
He's going, but it's just like flushing
I was
out.
telling you. I think I was telling you before. I don't know. Did I say it on the call or did I say it before the call? I forgot. Yes, this is the most common complaint with Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Beyond Tangy Tangerine contains nutrients that are very, as we say in biochemistry, hygroscopic. HYGRO. Hygroscopic. Hygroscopic means water absorbing. So sometimes you'll leave something on your counter, like a powder on your counter, if you live in Florida or New York where there's a lot of humidity, and you'll see the powder becomes kind of damp from the water that's in the air, the atmosphere. That's hygroscopicity, water absorption. The minerals particularly, but other nutrients as well, in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine suck water up. If you take too much all at once, or B, if you have any kind of inflammation at the level of the small intestine that's compromising absorption, the nutrients will pass through the small intestine and go into the large intestine, where they will pull water with them, giving you a big load of water in the large intestine. That big load of water will cause bloating, cramping, discomfort, and most troubling, explosive diarrhea. The answer to it, or the solution to it, is, first of all, smaller doses. That's one of the reasons why I like people to sip on it all day long. I don't know who put that 2 scoops in a glass of water thing on the instructions, but it's craziness. Some people can do it, but it's just crazy to try to do that much all at once, not only because it's so intense and so much on the body, but also you don't absorb everything and you end up wasting it. So smaller doses, divided doses. In pharmacy, we say divided doses. Everything's better in divided doses. And if you could sip on it through water, that's the best way to do divided doses. Also, if you have this kind of issue, it may be because you have inflammation at the level of the small intestine that's keeping things from getting absorbed. This is very common. We talk about leaky gut all the time, but sometimes we don't recognize that the lining becomes inflamed. Why does the lining become inflamed? The same reason anything becomes inflamed. Starvation, lack of nutrition, hypoxia or lack of oxygen from inflammation, and most importantly, toxicity, including, most importantly perhaps, fried foods. Very inflammatory for the whole body, but particularly for the intestine. French fries, pizza, fried okra, hush puppies, all the things you think of. I saw deep fried butter the other day. Who the heck is going to eat deep fried butter? These crazy things. Estrogen, aggression, estrogen for the intestine. The nutrients come through, and you end up with digestive issue or bowel issues or diarrhea or whatever. Smaller doses, number 1. With food, number 2. And correct your treat it as an issue of malabsorption and correct digestive issues, number 3. That's how you handle this problem, which is probably the most common complaint that we hear about Beyond Tangy Tangerine is it made me bloat, it gave me gas or crampy or discomfort, digestive discomfort or diarrhea. Yes, sir.
Okay, so he tried to remedy it by I pay attention to what you say, so I definitely suggested that he take lower doses and maybe even split a day's dose over 2 days. I've done that, but he actually went and got some Pepto-Bismol, and when he did that, the 2 days since he's been using the Pepto-Bismol, he noticed some black stool.
Okay, so that is also could be a sign of problems with gut bacteria. Pepto-Bismol is the active ingredient is pink. It's called bismuth subsalicylate, and it's pink. When bismuth reacts with sulfur, it turns black. So that's telling me he might have some dysbiosis issues, some bacterial issues, and given he has a history of digestive issues, intestinal issues, it's likely that's the case. So you may want to start, it's not the end of the world that it turns black, but you can use it as an indicator that there's some kind of bacterial issue, maybe something called SIBO, which you talked about, or some kind of disturbances in bacteria. It's a reaction between the sulfur from bacteria produce sulfuric gases, and the bismuth subsalicylate, the active ingredient.
So we're using the ultimate microbiome. Should we switch to the I-26?
Yes, I would do absolutely I-26. You're gonna have to play around with the digestive system, with the intestine.
You know what you are?
What's that?
The man.
Right. Thank you. I'm just a little old pharmacist.
Well, we appreciate our little old pharmacist. He's really not that old.
I'm getting old.
My cup is 32 ounces.
Your cup, what is that?
All day long with my Tangy
your
Tangerine.
BTT. Yeah, sip on it.
And my OsteoFX. So, yeah, and it's a great way just to give your body nutrition throughout the day. I love it. Let's go over to Henry. And folks, if you have questions, we're going to try to fit a few of them here in today. Henry, what is your question for Pharmacist Ben?
Hi, Ben.
Henry.
Yeah, so my question has to deal with high blood pressure.
Okay.
So obviously, it's been high, right around 150 over 10, like 109.
Okay. Okay.
So they wanted to prescribe Vasartan, I
Okay.
guess. And so I'm just trying to see what other alternatives, because a lot of the blood
So-
pressure
Yeah,
medications
there's
make
so many
Vasartan.
alternatives. But what else is going on, Henry?
Well, I am diabetic type 2.
Okay.
You know, that's the other issue there.
Okay. That exemplifies the silliness of the medical model. It's not the doctor per se, because he's just participating in the medical model. In fact, you guys, some of you may know this. There's a criteria, medical criteria called standards of care. And this is what doctors have to do when you have certain symptoms, or else they can get sued. So if you have a blockage, a circulatory blockage, they have to give you a statin drug, or they can get sued for malpractice because it violates standards of care. Likewise, when you have high blood pressure, if they don't give you a drug to lower your blood pressure, it violates standards of care. You have a stroke, you can sue the doctor, or the doctor can lose his license. So they have to do these things. High blood pressure is a sign of duress. We talked at the beginning about fear, about defense, inflammation. This is what sickness is. Dis-ease. You're out of ease. It says it right there in the name. The body is under duress. High blood pressure represents the body's attempt to get oxygen to tissues. For some reason, the oxygen is not getting delivered properly. This is following inflammation. That's the main cause of what they call hypoxia, low blood oxygen. Now, respiratory issues play a role. Stress hormone plays a role, but for the most part, it's going to be inflammatory. High blood pressure should be regarded as an inflammatory issue. There's many mechanisms here, including disruptions at the level of the blood vessels, clogs in the blood itself, what I call dirty blood. There's many reasons why blood doesn't distribute its oxygen effectively. When that happens, when the blood's not delivering oxygen to the tissues effectively, what the brain does and sends messages to the blood vessels, it increases the pressure. It increases the pressure by squeezing down. The object, when you have high blood pressure, is to figure out what those stressors are on the body that are blocking the flow. Now, we talk about dirty blood. That's always the first thing you want to think about. And just like we said, all disease is inflammatory. Really, the inflammatory process begins in the blood. When I'm saying dirty blood, which I think is kind of cool to say because it's very graphic, is really inflamed blood. It's blood that is undergoing inflammatory chemistry. That inflammatory chemistry kind of clogs everything up. What is it that causes inflammation? What is inflammation, whether it's in the blood or anywhere else? It's a defensive response. So the question is, if we want to reduce an inflammatory response anywhere, what's the defense? What's the offending agent that's triggering a defensive response? So if you have a defensive response in the blood and you're looking for the offending agent, where do you think that offending agent is coming from? Is it coming from angels sprinkling something on your head from the sky? Is it come from little elves shooting arrows at you, at your legs? No, obviously. Where's it coming from? It's coming from something you're putting inside the body. Now, what do we put inside the body? There's only two ways we put things inside the body. One way is we inject things. And guess what? People who inject things get dirty blood. They get inflamed blood. What's the number one adverse reaction associated with that injection that everybody was supposed to take a few years ago?
Blood clots.
Blood clots, of course. Duh. What kind of healthcare professional would ever say to somebody, stick that in your blood? When obviously now you have an assault in the blood. The life of the body is in the blood. The life of the flesh is in the blood. Okay, so fine. That's one aspect, but that doesn't happen as much. And by the way, people, as I know I've said this before, but people who abuse drugs intravenously, meth and coke and whatever people shoot up, heroin, that stuff, they end up with blood diseases. They end up with autoimmune diseases. They end up with the same kind of diseases that people have when they have long-term chronic digestive issues. But for the most part, where's the blood going to get dirty? From the intestine. Now, you said you're a diabetic. Diabetes is a sign that your blood sugar is not being controlled. Sugar is a major inflammatory factor for the blood. This is why diabetes is linked to metabolic syndrome and all chronic diseases. And I don't even like saying diabetes. It's dysglycemia. Remember, diabetes is a brand name. The doctor owns that word. The medical model owns the word diabetes. It's like Kleenex. Tissues is dysglycemia. Can't say Kleenex, but you can say tissues. You can't say diabetes, but you can say dysglycemia. Dys meaning dysfunctional, messed up. Glycemia, glyce, sugar, emia, blood, messed up blood sugar. Blood sugar is very inflammatory, very damaging. It's inflammatory for the blood. It is damaging to blood proteins. In fact, as Henry probably knows, or anybody who's a diabetic or dysglycemic knows, every month, 2 months, 6 months, periodically, you have to have your blood proteins examined for damage, for sugar damage. They will actually take your major blood protein, which is called hemoglobin, and they'll look at the hemoglobin and see how fast it's sugaring, how fast it's being damaged. And that's a measurement of how fast you're sugaring, how fast you're damaging, how fast the toxic impact of sugar is, or how dramatically the toxic impact of sugar is affecting you. So what's that test called, where they actually go into your hemoglobin and see how fast it's being damaged? It's called the hemoglobin A1C test. And that is a test to see how fast the sugar is destroying your blood. So we know sugar destroys the blood, and Henry said he's a diabetic. Well, guess what? If depending on the severity of your dysglycemia or diabetes, you're going to have high blood pressure. It's part of metabolic syndrome, Rebecca. It's a classic part of metabolic syndrome. Did you write about it?
Yes,
Right?
we did.
It's a cardiovascular disease is classic dysglycemia. Classic. There's other reasons why you have it, and there's another impact. There's a very interesting impact between the bile system. Bile regulates blood sugar too, and bile, of course, is part of the digestive system. And the more toxins you're ingesting, the thicker and sludgier and dirtier your bile is going to be. So there's an impact between a relationship between the gallbladder and bile and the blood sugar system as well. So, who is this, Richard or Henry? So for Henry, high blood pressure, diabetes, what are we gonna do? Number one, all the diabetic nutrients you could think of, and interestingly, anything that helps you with blood sugar is going to help you with anything that helps you with blood sugar is going to help you with hypertension. Niacin, both helps you with your blood sugar, helps you with hypertension. Magnesium helps you with blood sugar, helps you with hypertension. Selenium, blood sugar, hypertension. So anything you can do for blood sugar is going to help you with your high blood pressure. And then there's the whole digestive thing. Again, it goes back to the first 2 points in the triangle of disease. Now, there's also an element of stress with the high blood pressure, psychological stress particularly. And there's this thing called white coat hypertension, where people will have high blood pressure when they're in their doctor's office, but not otherwise, because they get freaked out when they see the doctor. So psychological stressors can play a role there too, as well as physiologic stressors like sugar and toxicity and malnutrition, etc. So relaxing the body is very important. I don't have time to talk about the relaxation nervous system and the stress nervous system, but when you're under duress, your stress nervous system, i.e. sympathetic nervous system, is activated. Activation of the sympathetic nervous system causes high blood pressure. So relaxing the sympathetic nervous system and going parasympathetic can drop your blood pressure very fast. Henry, if you have a blood pressure cuff, you can observe this yourself. Excuse me. You can observe this yourself. Anybody who has a high blood pressure cuff and is on an antihypertensive can observe this yourself. Take your blood pressure with your blood pressure cuff, then go sit in a hot or warm bath, 15 minutes. Then get out of the warm bath and take your blood pressure again. You'll be shocked at what you see. Your blood pressure will drop like a stone. And if you do this regularly, you'll have to reduce and ultimately wean yourself off your blood pressure medicine. And everybody's experienced this. Rebecca, have you ever sat in a bath or a hot tub and you stand up and you feel dizzy and woozy kind of thing?
Lightheaded, yes.
That's your blood pressure dropping. That's a sign your blood pressure's dropped. Everybody knows this. When was the last time a doctor wrote a prescription for 2 hot tubs a day? Right? 2 hot baths a day. That's a quick fix for high blood pressure. Now, your blood pressure is going to go up again, but just do them every day. If we really cared about health in this country, every American would get a hot tub in their backyard. Vote for me for president, and I guarantee everybody gets a hot tub in their backyard. That's the Obamacare we need. Ben Care. Vote for me for president.
I was going to say, we need Ben Care.
Ben Care.
Everybody
gets a hot tub. Activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Relax the body. The vagus nerve, you're going to hear more, you're already starting to hear more about vagal tone, they call it. I know you've probably Doc talks about the vagus nerve a lot. The vagus nerve, vagus means wanderer, And they call it the wanderer because it wanders all over the internal part of the body. It's the longest nerve in your body. It goes from your head and then it activates all the internal organs. Activating the vagus nerve or improving, they call it vagal tone, is key for any stress related, which is all health challenges, including hypertension. And then last thing I'll tell Henry, and there's so much more, this can't be comprehensive, but the B vitamins, we mentioned niacin earlier, but the B vitamins are critically important for hypertension. That is not exhaustive. There's a lot of other things, but that's a bunch of stuff that you can do right away. Correct your metabolic syndrome, your blood sugar will drop. Your blood
Real
pressure.
quick, how much niacin and selenium and magnesium?
I would take 600 micrograms a day of selenium, and I would take 5. You have to watch out for the niacin flush. There's no flush niacin, but the niacin that causes the flushing has a better vasodilating effect. That's actually what the flush is. It's actually the blood vessels opening up. So if you can handle the flush and it goes away with time, and you get less of a flush if you take it with food, like 100 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day kind of thing, even 100 milligrams 5 times a day. You can take 500 to 1,000 milligrams a day of niacin. Niacin is ridiculously important. It's the only vitamin, it's so important, it's the only vitamin that your body will actually make when there's an emergency. Vitamins, by definition, your body can't make, but niacin or B3 is so important because it plays a role in how energy is produced in cells. You probably have heard of NAD, it's making the news, NAD, NADH, NADP, that's all niacin. Those are all derivatives of niacin. And niacin is responsible for many things, but from a cellular perspective, it's responsible for the production of energy, or it plays a role in the production of energy in those little tiny structures. I always hesitate to say what they are because it's such a big word and people tune out. Mitochondria. The mitochondria are the little things that turn your food into energy. Niacin is the intermediary or the mediator for the transport, for the conversion. I'm being very vague here, or I'm not being specific, but for the conversion of sugar or food into ATP or energy. Niacin is the carrier. So niacin is incredibly important. Niacin deficiency is not uncommon, and niacin deficiency can kill you. It can cause brain damage, dementias, major digestive health problems, and also serious skin problems as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, great question, Henry. Lots of information given there. And we have Jacob out on YouTube, says, love this. Thank you all for the life-changing information.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Let's go over to Richard. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Richard. Can we hear you?
Yep, I'm here.
What question do you have for Pharmacist Ben today?
Pharmacist Ben, thank you. I been on longevity products since 2015. Big fan of yours the whole time.
Thank you, Richard.
I am 61 years old, as gluten-free as I know how to be, in good shape, but I'm a musician. I'm a bass player in a country band and a harmony singer.
Wow.
But for the last 2 years, I've been having trouble with my voice. So it's affected my singing voice, my talking voice. I don't know if you can tell now, but it's a little raspy,
Yeah.
little hoarse sound. So for some reason, it's overnight. It's better first thing in the morning. Progressively, usually gets worse during the day.
Okay.
So there's something inflaming it, but I don't know what.
Are you having problems? Are you having problems sleeping at all?
No.
You know what sleep apnea is?
Yeah, I don't have that I know of at all.
Okay. So a couple things. First of all, when you have a generalized symptom like that, what you want to do, and this is for anybody who's working with clients here, what you want to do is you want to look for other symptoms. I know I keep repeating myself, but this is a very good point. I'm going to say it again. If you have a painting, a canvas, I should say, and it's just a white canvas, and you put a dot in the middle, I can't tell you what that is. But if you put a line here and a line there, I can start to see a picture emerging. Like Bob Ross. Remember Bob Ross? Put a dot in the middle, puts a line here. Oh my God, there's a forest. Oh my God, there's a river, another line, there's a mountain. You start to get a picture forming as you get dots, as you get data points. Raspy throat, I can't tell you. I can give you some guesses, but I want to know what else is going on in order to assess what's causing a raspy throat. And the first thing that comes to mind is some kind of acid reflux. So I'd ask you any digestive health issues. If you have any kind of acid reflux issues, that can cause a raspy throat. If you have food allergies, that can also cause an immune reaction in the throat, mucus and that kind of thing, and that can also cause raspiness. So I'd have to ask you for other things that are going on. So, and by the way, this is sometimes very tricky. I'm not saying this is for you, Richard, but sometimes people don't know what else is going on. Or they don't make the connection, and you have to kind of probe a little bit. Some people say, oh, nothing's going on. And then later in the conversation, you'll hear that they got some kind of bowel issue, or they break out about something. You know, things will start to come out because not because people are lying or they're dishonest or they're dumb. It just doesn't connect. So, Richard, if you had a raspy throat for years, again, it didn't happen because some angel sprinkled something on your head. Something is getting into your body to disturb the chemistry. Your job is to figure out what that is. And the only way to really do it is to find other dots so you can triangulate, so you can get a picture can start to form on your canvas. Does that make sense, Richard?
Yes.
So your job, and it's not necessarily easy, I understand that, is to look for other symptoms. Now, sometimes you don't want to make them up, obviously, but you want to find them. They're in your interest. Sometimes people they don't like to talk about their other symptoms, they don't know they have other symptoms, whatever. You have to find other things going on. And that's the only way to really address something that is that disassociated or separated from fundamental health breakdowns, which are the triangle of disease. It's like on the extreme end of the triangle of disease. The triangle of disease is the headquarters of the disease process. And then there's all kinds of things on the outskirts, like a hub and spokes. And you got to find out what's going on at the hub level before you can address the spokes. So come up with some symptoms. You don't have to do it now. If you want to do it later, or send me an email or talk to Rebecca, that will help. We can't answer that question until we have other data points.
Yeah, I'll try to. I'll
Right?
put
As
together.
many as you can come up with. Many as you can come up. You may have to rack your brain a little bit because one of the things about our brains is things that happen all the time go under the radar. The brain doesn't think things are important if they happen all the time. So it automatically puts them on the back burner.
Yeah.
The only thing the brain cares about is things that are new, that happen once in a while. If it happens all the time, you're gonna have to dig deep in order to retrieve it or access it from the back burner. I see that we're out of time here.
Yeah, it is time for you
Thank you.
to go. Thank you so much, Richard, for a great
Richard,
question
thank you.
there. A lot of people are experiencing that as well. And Ben, before you go, we took a poll, and the question is, bring it on, Ben, or I don't feel safe. And it's 100%. Bring it on, Ben.
What do you mean? Now, what is this? You did a poll for what?
We did a poll wanting to know if people feel safe in our program.
Oh, in our program. Okay.
So
Too much
they can like say,
information.
no, I don't feel safe, or bring it on,
Bring it on.
Ben.
Okay. So bring it
So-
on one. All right. Good deal.
Bringing it on 100%. And thank you so much, team, for coming on with us as we are at the end of another amazing Pharmacist Friday here on Daily with Doc. Ben, want to make sure that you stay on schedule and get to your next
Thank
appointment.
you.
Thanks again for
Thank
being
you,
here with
everybody.
us.
God bless. Happy Easter. God bless everybody.
Happy Easter, and yes, Good Friday to all of you. Hope you are all having a fantastic day. And thank you for taking time and being here with us on Daily with Doc. Ben, I know you need to go, so if
I'm
you
going to
need to
go. I'm going to motivate.
all right. And for all of you, if you heard anything that really resonated with you and you have never tried any of the longevity products before, and somebody sent you here specifically, get back with them. They will help you get the products that are needed to help you in getting a better health journey. And if nothing else, like Ben said in the beginning of the show, beyond Tangy Tangerine, folks, that is the best, most absorbable multivitamin, multi-mineral complex available, period, hands down. I was a vitamin junkie. I heard this was good for this. This was good for this. This was good for this. I was taking it all and I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker until I heard Dr. Wallach on the radio, looked into what he had going on, got on a program with Longevity, and within 2 weeks, the migraines that I had been experiencing since I was 8 years old were gone. And in 9 years, I've had maybe 5 headaches that I would not say were even close to being migraines. And that's just the beginning. So folks, get back with the person that shared this program with you. And if there is no one to thank and you want to speak with a certified holistic health coach, give our team a call at 855-949-3377. 855-949-3377. If you'd like to do it yourself, on our website, dailywithdoc.com, you will find the Tangy Tangerine products there in our store. So feel free to shop. If you already have a customer ID number, you can even log in and check out and keep all of your order history together, which is very important. Well, today we have on with us Phyllis. Phyllis is one of the pioneers of the Longevity distributorships. Her and her husband were very responsible for having Dr. Wallach on the radio waves, which I completely appreciate because that's how I heard about him. So thank you to you, Phyllis and Andy. Phyllis is out on YouTube and Facebook and Rumble and bringing in those questions. And she had her hand up because we had a ton of questions today we did not get to. So make sure if you have questions, email us questions@dailywithdoc.com. So thank you so much, Phyllis, for all you do. We have Albert, who is joining us all the way from South Africa, folks, because he understands the importance and really has a heart for his community in his country, which I think we're all community. We have no lines, we have no countries, we have no boundaries. We are community, and we just want to make sure that everyone hears a message that there are alternatives to create a better health journey. So thank you so much, Albert, for being here and letting people into the Zoom room. We also have Ruth Ellen, who is my executive production manager, who helps to keep our schedule full, helps keep us online. She pulls everything together, adds the graphics, pushes it out to all the different platforms so that you can hear us not only today live streaming, but tomorrow and forevermore. At least that's the plan. So thank you so much, Ruth Ellen, for all that you do. We also have Marilyn. Now, Marilyn, she is like one of the busiest bees in the world when it comes to being Daily with Doc. As if you are here live with us and you have that chat open, you see her amazing work as she is putting information into type and doing dictation of what is being spoken and shared. So thank you so much, Marilyn. And we also have Kaylee, who is part of our team as our social media director and helping us to get out on the different social media platforms and creating more awareness for the show and also just in general, folks, nutrition and creating that awareness. So thank you so much, Kaylee. We have AJ, who is our director of digital marketing, helping us to get out on all those different media platforms and making sure that we stay up to date on all of the technology. So thank you so much, AJ. And we just had a question that came through. So Roberta says, thank you, Marilyn. And Elaine's wanting to know how to access this recording. So folks, if you're watching us, you can go to live.dailywithdoc.com. That will take you to our most recent show. Okay? But you can find us by doing Daily with Doc in your browser, and you will find our shows on all the different platforms that we are available. I love the fact that when you type in Daily with Doc, we're like right at the top multiple times, easy to find. So like us on your favorite platform, whether it's YouTube or Rumble or Brighteon or Patreon or Facebook, Instagram, X. The list just goes on and on and on. We want to know where people are at. So let us know. And if there's no way to like or make a comment, send us a quick little email to info@dailywithdoc.com. www.nutritionalpharmacist.com and let us know where you're joining us from. So folks, we will see you next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 East Central, and 3 to 4 Eastern here at zoom.dailywithdoc.com. Until next time, bye for now, everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. This program is for educational purposes only. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual sharing their testimony. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to have a founding father of the science of epigenetics guiding us with the best options to obtain or maintain optimal health, Dr. Joel Wallach.